107.5 The Game Podcasting is sponsored by Modern Exterminating, a family-oriented company. Professional, honest, and dependable pest control solutions. We're your one-stop shop for all pests.
8 of 30 from three-point range were the Gamecocks last night. That's not going to get it done, especially for a team that is expected to shoot the three exceptionally well. We'll talk more basketball in hour number 2, but Elijah Strong had a good night. You know, the power forward, the transfer from Boston College, had a good night. Didn't play bad. But there are statistical things you look at that simply cannot happen. They cannot be part of the equation if you're going to win. And last night, Elijah Strong, who when we were doing preseason predictions and preseason previews, we were talking about Michi Johnson shooting a lot of threes and Eli Ellis shooting threes. And if Christian Polk came in shooting threes and other players shooting threes. Elijah Strong was not one of those guys. And last night, 1 of 9 from three-point range. 6 of 16 from the field, 18 points. Gave you a nice 25 minutes, only grabbed 3 rebounds. That is a little bit of a concern. Got to get that fixed a little bit. But 1 of 9. Now, if you want to be sweet to him, you say, well, he's 1 of 8. That last one was a heave at the very end to try and tie the game. Half court or full court pass, essentially a half court shot. Okay, 1 of 8 if you don't count the half court heave. There were a lot of things that South Carolina did not do that allowed that game to come down to when it did in the end of regulation. I don't mind a small recruiting class, and yes, South Carolina took some guys that are still developmental players. Anthony Baxter from South Point is an offensive lineman that, you know, probably, I never say never, but probably needs some developing, needs some strength and conditioning programs. And if you find a guy who says, yeah, coach, I'm willing to wait it out. If you find a guy who is like, yeah, coach, I know I need to redshirt next year. I know that my redshirt freshman year, I'm probably still not playing. Well, then, okay, I think you take that guy. I think you take a chance with him. South Carolina's not in a position in any way, shape, or means to take a 25-man recruiting class where, and this is South Carolina recruiting, where 12 of them are guys you're going, boy, I hope in 3 years they pan out. Because let me tell you, that'll be a new coach working with those guys in 3 years. You got to hit the transfer portal. The Gamecocks got to hit the transfer portal. That's 10 times far more important for them this year to take 20. Yeah, that's a large number, 25 plus transfers. I realize that's a large number. No, I don't particularly like it. I don't like flipping your roster like that. It doesn't work far more often than it does work. But that's the do or die situation that the Gamecocks find themselves in. But you look at the class and what they're bringing in, and it does look like, at least on paper, you've got guys, now I don't know, Darius Gray, 5-star offensive lineman. In an ideal world, he's not ready to contribute next year, but who knows? If you think you can figure out the South Carolina offensive line, not only explain it to me, then go buy you and I the same Powerball tickets, please. I beg of you. Xavion Currents, the safety out of Rock Hill, out of South Point, out of Rock Hill, South Carolina, but out of South Point High School, would be a guy, as I was kind of mentioning, that would step in next year. I think actually in this day and age, you're looking at to come in and be a day one starter. And as I mentioned, South Carolina losing DQ Smith back there. Also, we'll see what happens with the likelihood of Judge Collier, Brandon Cisse, Jalen Kilgore. Kilgore, I've seen a lot of first-round projections for him. That's Patrick Perrett's area of expertise, and we should really bring him back and get an early projection on what he thinks about Cisse and Judge Collier. Collier was getting a lot of love early on and did not have, I think it's fair to say, Collier did not have a good junior season. So I would assume maybe he needs to come back for his senior season. But money talks, people around people talk. You start believing one thing, and the next thing you know, off they go. But Xavier Currents is officially now a Gamecock and will enroll next month. And of this recruiting class is the guy that I look to make the biggest impact as a freshman right off the bat.